Lovely. Well, we're going to get started now. Kia ora koutou katoa, no mai, haere mai, ko Jay Crangle, ke Sustainable Business Council in Mahi Ana. My name is Jay, and I am the head of ESG at the Sustainable Business Council, based in the beautiful Tamaki Makaurau. I thought we could open with a little whakatoki to set the scene for our session today, and I've chosen one which means believe in yourself, which is Mauria Te Pono. And I chose that one because I feel that the Sustainability Leadership Program is an investment in yourself, and it's backing yourself to continue to do the good work that you do and to stretch your skills and expertise to do that. It's also an investment in your business, because investing in you is investing in your organisation. As I mentioned, this is going to be an interactive session. Perhaps we could pop up the agenda for today. So videos on where possible. Pop any questions you have in the chat. I will go through what the agenda is today. We can almost tick off the first one, an introduction from me. We're going to try a framework on for size later in the session, and we're also going to hear from a couple of SLP alumni, Becks and Port, whom I will introduce more formally later. I'm also joined by Andrea, and I'll talk through her illustrious career in a minute. But I thought I might start a little bit with the why of Sustainability Leadership Program. Really interested to hear why you are here today, other than getting a special invitation personally from Port, as some of you did. What's your why? Why are you interested in the Sustainability Leadership Program? There are lots of opportunities for development out there, so why have you chosen to be with us this morning? It's a pleasure to have you here. I thought touching on the why for the Sustainable Business Council could be helpful too. We are a membership organisation. About 130 businesses across Aotearoa are part of our community, and we're committed to a future where business, people and nature all thrive together. And as part of that is about empowering professionals to lead out on sustainability in their organisations. And I know from personal experience it takes a particular set of skills to do that, which sounds very Liam Neeson taken. But you need to be able to communicate in a way that engages with other people. You need to be a good influencer. You need to be pretty savvy. You need to be able to work across all levels of an organisation. And this program supports you with the skills to be able to do that. So that's why it's important to SBC. Why it's important to me, I took part in the program many moons ago now. I think it was about 5 or 6 years when I first was fresh off the boat, landing in Aotearoa back from London. I really liked it because it gave me a ready-made network of people interested in the same areas as I was interested in, environmental and social sustainability. And for me, a lot of what we do at SBC is about influencing the wider network, whether that be executives or directors or the sustainability profession. And having some tools in my ammunition to be able to do that is really, really helpful. And to be able to know that there's a community of people who are trying to do same things as you is also wonderful. So that's SBC's why and my why. We often get asked who Sustainability Leadership Program is for as well. It's for anyone who's got a responsibility in sustainability, and I realise that is really varied. So when it used to primarily sit with the sustainability manager, now it's people in culture, and now it's people working in risk, people working in strategy and finance. We've had a whole host of individuals take part in the program, and part of the beauty of it is you get to meet people in other parts of businesses and understand the language and the priorities that they have to be able to engage with them. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my beautiful colleague. There we go. There's some of the organisations we've worked with before. Introduce my colleague Andrea, who is the co-CEO and co-founder of Catapult. We've been partnering with her since 2017 and offering the Sustainability Leadership Program, which is almost a decade, which is a bit frightening to say when 1990 feels like just yesterday, if you're me. Catapult is a member of the Sustainable Business Council and a signatory to the Climate Leaders Coalition, which SBC hosts a survey climate positives for scopes 1, 2, and 3 business operations, which is no mean feat. Andrea is a graduate of many international programs, notably Harvard Kennedy School, Al Gore's Climate Reality Leaders. Wonder what he's up to these days. I should look him up. And the Cambridge Institute of Sustainability Leadership. She's going to talk to us today about the benefits and the format of SLP. Over to you, lovely Andrea.
Kia ora, Jay. Thank you. And kia ora e te whānau. First off, thank you all so much for your interest in the program, but also your commitment to sustainability and your commitment to your own development. So thank you for your curiosity and interest and prioritising being here today. It's really awesome. We had over 90 people register for this, and it was fascinating looking at all the different roles and organisations. So thank you. And thank you, Jay, and thank you, the Sustainable Business Council, for this length of time.
Right.
It's also an example of SDG 17 partnership for the goals, which is fabulous. And SLP is a really perfect fit for us at Catapult. As you can see, some of the things about us, but our purpose is unleashing brilliance for a flourishing Aotearoa. So really, sustainability goes hand in hand, whether it's social, economic, or environmental. And whether you are new to sustainability or a seasoned professional, I'm really confident that SLP would give you the connections, confidence, and courage you need to lead out on sustainability. So I've some format, and then we'll hear from a couple of graduates from the program. At any time, please pop questions into chat. We're also interested in chat you saying why you're here today. And I'll kick off then with the benefits. And then we're going to run a poll as our first kind of easy interaction. Which of these benefits is of most interest to you? So there's 4 key benefits, which I'll go through and illustrate with quotes from past participants. Then we'll run the poll. The first one is this great thing called confidence. So very common for people working in the field of sustainability to think, oh my goodness, these issues are so complex, they're so huge, it's often quite overwhelming, and people feel that they should have all the answers and don't have all the answers. So great to see that 100% of graduates say they have much more confidence. And here's a quote from Helen. Of course, SLP has given me greater confidence, new ways of looking at problems, and ways to collaborate with others. And from last year's program, Michelle Ortega from Frontera, more confidence in her capability, which is directly translated into how she interacts with others, which is very cool. So first benefit is more confidence. If we have the confidence, then we're more likely to act and make a difference. Next then is connections, which Jay also spoke to. So networks and connections with like-minded people in the field of sustainability. And we take this really seriously. We have this kind of algorithm in the back, which matches people into small groups. And then we're in different small groups in every single online workshop. And then there's the 2-day workshop, all these different chances. And I would say everyone interacts with everyone else on the program quite deeply throughout the program. Here's a quote from Samantha of Kangaora. The course helped me expand my network, and she also found those connections were continuing after the program, which is really cool. Another quote from Robin of Ministry for the Environment. Through attending SLP, I've gained a large network of like-minded individuals and also learned how to be more strategic in her influencing. So that's the second benefit. The connections made. And then third is capabilities. So Jay talked to this toolkit needed for sustainability, and it really is a distinct toolkit from everyday leadership skills. You really need to influence without authority. You need to learn how to diagnose complex challenges, distinct from simple or only complicated challenges. Here's a quote from Mitesh. The tools I learned during the program helped me to drive consultation and collaboration, and also embed sustainability into strategy. Ali from Silver Fern Farms talks about one tool we use for mapping, and that helped her work out key influences and communicate sustainability with precision and confidence. Also, the storytelling tools are really helpful for people, how to articulate a compelling vision and engage people. And then finally, what it's all about, where the rubber hits the road, is actually advancing sustainability. So it's not just all about, talking and connecting and learning. It's actually about impact out there in the real world, advancing the sustainability agenda of the organization. And people make real progress during the container of the program. Here's a few examples. We have here Stacey. So she developed a biodiversity strategy for her organization applying the program. Here we have Campbell, who was able to influence his board, get his board on board with sustainability. And another example here, Ali from Silver Fern Farms, she created a water reduction pathway strategy and also an implementation strategy through the program. So you see real practical difference. So now we're going to run a poll. Could you please launch this poll, Alana? Thank you. Which of these benefits most appeals to you? And we've cunningly got a multi-choice. So if you're like, I like 2 of these or 3 of these, which of these is of most interest to you? And while those results are coming in, I'm going to give you two bonus benefits. One is career. Turns out sustainability is the hottest, most in demand toolkit out there. And so advancing your career. One example here is Roger Robson Williams from Plant and Food Research, as well as reducing carbon emissions in his organization. He went from being only 0.2 responsible for sustainability to being the chief sustainability officer. Another example, Jennifer from Mondelez went from being the New Zealand sustainability person to being the based in New York head of sustainability for the whole of Mondelez through applying the program, which is really cool. All right, let's have these results, please. Cool. All right, we want everything. And you can have everything, that's fine. But actually, interestingly, actually all these other things feed into advancing sustainability. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. Thank you so much, Alana. And then now I'll overview the focus and then we'll hear from grads. Cool. Okay, so the focus really, it's not about I would start with what it's not about, technical skills for sustainability, because actually those are really research any element of technical skills for sustainability. And also because they're so vast, it really depends on your issue, which technical skills you need. We focus on the leadership toolkit that research shows is required by sustainability leaders. So from this recent research, it's about the building of the partnerships, so how to collaborate. It's about how to set strategy with others, how to problem solve complex sustainability problems, and other core leadership skills. Here's the format of the program. So you register, you choose a sustainability challenge that you're facing. Usually it's part of your day job, and you pop that in the registration form together with the relevant UN Sustainable Development Goal. You click on whether you want optional 360-degree feedback or coaching. And if you register by the 28th of February, you get an early bird discount, extra discount for SBC members, or by the 28th of March latest. And then the program really begins because you get welcomed onto a portal. There's pre-work, which is divided into essential and optional extras. I open my nerd cave at the end of the program with heaps of extra resources. And then you'll also form in your leader labs. What's a leader lab? We form you into small groups based on a lot of thinking actually into commonality of sustainability challenge, but diversity of organizations and diversity of roles. That becomes your hub group, like your personal board of advisors throughout the whole program. And you work with those people between every workshop. And that kicks off your first meeting is before even the first workshop. And then there are a few online pieces. The first is an optional meet and greet. So that might be you just want to come and hang out with other people, meet them more informally before we officially kick off, or you might have some questions about your sustainability challenge, any kind of support you'd like before we actually kick off formally. Then there are 5 2-hour Zoom workshops. You've got the dates there. And they're pièce de résistance. It all culminates in this wonderful 2-day workshop in person, which this year is in Auckland. And all the workshops are incredibly interactive. We practice this flipped classroom model where you learn the theory in the pre-work so that you're ready to engage and interact and apply it to your sustainability challenge during the program. The design of the program means that it's much lower in emissions profile than if it was all in person, but also the pacing and spacing of learning means you use it and apply it rather than getting overly saturated and not applying it all. Any questions about the format or any questions about the content, please pop them in chat and we can address them later. So the content of the workshops, you can see here, we look at what is sustainability leadership, different definitions, how do you engage others and what they think of as sustainability and how might you form a common mental model around that. We look at futures and systems thinking, global mega trends, systems thinking and leadership tools, so that you can see the broader landscape around your organization and issues. Then we do the inner work of leadership. You might have heard of the inner development goals. Turns out the inner work of leadership is really important to do the outer work of leading on sustainability. You need a strong sense of your own leadership backbone, your core purpose and values. You also need to understand styles and different styles and approaches to influence effectively. And almost more importantly, how to sustain yourself while you're working on these, what can be pretty overwhelming issues. The toolkit for diagnosing complex sustainability issues and collaborating. And then we move into the 2-day workshop, which is all around how do you influence others, lead systems change, embed sustainability solutions into your organization's operations, culture, and strategy. So it becomes everyone's job, not just your job, which is actually the current mindset of a lot of organizations. We've got sustainability handled because we've got someone with the title. If only it worked that way. Here's a quote from a past participant. The way SLP was structured allowed us to learn new tools and techniques, practice applying them, get feedback from the group. It was very hands-on and practical. All right, that's it from me for now. I'm going to hand over to Jay to interview 2 graduates from last year's program.
Good. Thanks, Andrea. That was really great. I was thinking about the skills that sustainability leadership program teaches you. One of them that it doesn't teach you is how to close the polls on Zoom after the results have been shared, because that took me an inordinate amount of time to figure out that, which is a bit embarrassing. We have a few questions about the format of the program that I might just jump to before we jump into interviews with Becks and Court, just because I think they're quite pertinent to this moment. So perhaps if we could pin you back up, Andrea, so we can take a couple of those. Are the Zoom meetings recorded in case you can't attend?
They absolutely are. We have this phenomenal online portal which hosts all the resources, and the recordings go up there the afternoon of the workshop. So if you can't make one of the workshops, it doesn't stop you from doing the program.
Nice. And what's the commitment? What's the pre-work, post-work?
Yeah, good.
Work, general work.
Good.
Work.
It's not nothing. It is something. We've got an estimate of the hours commitment involved on our website. So recommend you go to I think Alana's going to post a link to our website. Have a look at that. Look at the pre-work, the leader lab work, and the workshop work, and look at how you can integrate that into your calendar. We'll probably hear from Becks and Court about how manageable that is too. Because it's bite-sized chunks, I think it's very manageable. The pre-work is as little as an hour per workshop, and the workshops themselves are 2 hours long. Then you've got an hour leader lab between each. So if you think, okay, can I make 4 hours available over a fortnight? Probably. Yeah, I would say it's manageable.
Nice. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, I concur. Absolutely. I'm going to come back to the questions about content because I think some of them are going to be answered in my conversations with Becks and Court as well. So thank you everyone who's asked questions so far, and do keep them coming. Becks, it's so nice to see you. We were having a chat before we joined today. So Becks is from Auckland Council, Principal Advisor on Education and Community Climate Action. I was talking about Waitangi Day tomorrow, and Becks said that she was going to take it easy and spend time watching Māori TV. And I think that is a really beautiful way to spend Waitangi. So thank you for spending the day before Waitangi with us. You're an alumni, SLP alumni. I'm really interested to know why you joined the program. What was your why?
So kia ora koutou, ko Becks Goffin toku ingoa. I did SLP for really 2 key reasons. One was to build up my sustainability network. So I was really passionate about the course because it gave you a ability to interact with people across the motu and across New Zealand that are involved in sustainability and learn from them. So that was one really key reason for me. And then the second one was really, I was 2 years into my principal advisor role, and I was looking for some tools, frameworks and strategies to help me be more impactful and effective in my mahi.
Nice. Networks and impact, to core tenets of SLP. Who do you think it's suited for? Who's the program for?
I would say that SLP is really suitable for everyone, whether you're at the beginning of your sustainability journey or someone that's very experienced. There's something for everyone there. I would say that the kind of things that you need to have, though, is a genuine interest and passion for sustainability, and you want to invest some time to grow and develop as a sustainability leader and influence within your organisation, and have the time and the investment in yourself to apply some of the tools and strategies that you have. In particular, if you're a learner, if you've got the strength of a learner, you'll really love the program like I did.
Right, I'm a learner too, and for that very reason is why I enjoyed it too, Becks. And I concur. I think everyone from those right at the beginning of their career through to those who are more advanced will get something from the program, because you've actually learned from other people at different stages of their career, and even from other people working in other sectors. There's a lot of shared challenges that you can cross-pollinate learning. Final question to you. Interested to know in your own words, whose other words would they be? I don't know. The key benefits of SLP, both for you as an individual and for council as well.
So I think the key thing for me, and I reflect a bit on this, is just about being more impactful and deliberate about how I want to add value and interact in my role, and that's been really important. And I think the other thing is around the future thinking. Like, we need to think about and apply a more future thinking lens. The landscape's constantly changing, and so having an idea about systems thinking and how things are changing and how you want to influence it has been really impactful for me. In terms of my organisation, the leadership challenge, I tied it to our goals and strategies really clearly. So there was a value to the organisation for me actually working on the sustainability challenge and going back and applying it in my organisation. And I feel quite good about that, and that's something that I would recommend. See if you can find your sustainability challenge does really relate to your goals and strategies within your organisation, because you'll get more support for what you're doing within it.
Completely concur, Becks, and it's really nice to be able to apply the learning as you go on the program, because it adds value to your business and to you day to day as an individual. So thank you so much for your reflections. Really value them. I'm going to turn to your esteemed alumni friend, Court. Lovely to see you, Court. Graduate of last year's program, I believe. I'm going to share a bit about your sustainability challenge and your experience on the program as well. So Court Fraser is from Steel and Tube Holdings. You are the Group Sustainability Manager. Again, we were talking about Waitangi Day before we started the call, and I think, Court, you had the most interesting of plans where you were going to be bartending at a concert in Tamaki Makaurau. I love that as a side hustle for you. Did you learn those skills at SLP, or did you already possess them?
I did. It's little known, but SLP actually contains a cocktail and mocktail making class, so it's another reason to join up.
That's an add-on package that you can purchase that Court can talk to you about. Other than the cocktail course, why did you do SLP?
So I actually came to this taster in 2023. And I was in a different role in Steel and Tube. It was operations, nothing to do with sustainability. And I never thought that that was a role I'd be able to move into. I thought sustainability was cool, but it just didn't enter my realm of possibilities. And my predecessor was wanting to develop more capability in the business, hopefully get some allies. So that's why he recommended that I do the taster. And so it's really surreal to be here today, to be the one reflecting on my time and my thoughts on SLP. So that's sort of my journey. So I've been in the role of Group Sustainability Manager for a year now, just over a year. And I signed up because I was new. I needed connections, I needed tools, I needed all the help in the world.
We all need all the help in the world. Progress beautifully in your role. I'm interested to know, what's the most valuable feature of SLP? What was it for you?
It was sort of like the learnings from the other people that you connect with. Like, the labs are really interactive, open and honest. You get to connect with, if you haven't connected with every single person in the class by the end of the 2 days, like, that's odd because most people had met everyone at that point. Just because everyone's at different points of their sustainability kind of career journey, they're in different industries, you learn so much. And then also like several of the frameworks and tools I found, I was like, oh, I can actually use that. So yeah, it's like access to support and access to frameworks that are specific to sustainability.
Excellent. And you mentioned meeting everyone in the course because someone had asked how many people were in a cohort, and it kind of varies between about 20 and 50 from memory. So you do have the opportunity to engage with everyone, which is wonderful. What would you say to someone who's thinking about doing SLP, other than pay for the bolt-on cocktail option?
I would say do it. You don't have a reason to not do it. There's so many benefits. Like, it doesn't matter if you've been in a sustainability role for 20 years or you're not in one at all, like I was. Like, there's really just several different things that you can get out of it, and you'll get as much out of it as you sort of like put into it. But I found it was like, it's not like a pressure environment either. It's just it's quite chill and supportive.
Quite chill and supportive. What a beautiful point to end on. Thank you for your insight and your sharing your experience too. I really, really value that. I'm going to hand back to Andrea now because she's going to take us through a practical example of the type of thing that you might do on the program.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Becks and Court. That was wonderful hearing about your different stories and very different sustainability worlds that you're in, council and steel and tube. All right, I'm going to start sharing slides again if all is going well. That's going well, is it? Yay, fantastic. Here is the sustainability capability wheel that Catapult's built based on extensive research into sustainability capabilities needed of leadership professionals. So you'll see at the heart of it is a sustainability mindset. So that's all about understanding yourself, your own emotional, social intelligence, having your sense of your leadership backbone, but also coming with a disposition that we're all interconnected. And then we go around the clock, systems thinking, diagnosing, and so on. And that's really the structure and logic of the entirety of the program. One of the early systems leadership skills we give is a tool called 7 Generations Thinking. And we're going to do this as an interactive exercise right here, right today. Okay, get your fingers ready. So this comes from a Native American tribe called the Iroquois, who would think in 7 generational terms when making any key decision. Modified for our context, a generation is 5 years. So we think of the present generation, 3 generations before us being 15 years, 3 generations in the future being 15 years. And it's a tool for thinking outside in, past into present and future back. It's also very aligned with Te Ao Māori thinking about time being a much more fluid, flexible phenomenon. And there's a phrase about we walk backwards into the future with our eye on the past, which I really love. And we integrate some Te Ao Māori learnings throughout the program. There's so much to learn from Indigenous perspectives. Anyway, so we look first at the past 15 years and we ask what's happened. And we go world, Aotearoa sector, then down to your organization. And we get this outside-in perspective, and we need to prompt for positive and negative because humans have a negativity bias. And actually, when you look at a lot of global data, there've been vast improvements over the last 15 years in many areas, not climate, however. And we prompt for these PESTLE features, which you can see highlighted here. So now in chat, could you please say anything that's happened in the world in the last 15 years? And then Jay, if you could do me a big favor, please, and summarize what comes through in chat, just a few key call outs. So what's happened in the world in the last 15 years? And it could be anything at all.
COVID's coming through a lot, unsurprisingly.
Yes.
Yeah, lovely reflection from Genesis. Hi, Michaela. Looking at how to have a thriving future in 1,000 years. So, gosh, if we look 1,000 years back, can you imagine how much we get in the chat? Let's stick to the 15 for the moment. Renewable energy growth. Trump has sadly happened and is happening again. Technological revolution. Yes, read a super interesting paper from the World Business Council for Sustainable Development on how sustainability revolution reflects the technological revolution through. I will pop that in the chat at some point. Global financial crisis, growth in population, war, yes, armed conflicts. So a mixture of good and bad, Andrea.
Yes, indeed. Okay. And now let's drop down to Aotearoa. What are some key things that have happened in Aotearoa in the last 15 years? And some of them will be see above, right? But what's been distinctly of our country in the last 15 years, or key impacts in our country in the last 15 years? EVs, investment in transition to, divestment in transition to. What else have we got? COVID, yes, of course, local impacts, and Tamaki Makaurau experienced that a lot. I'm into whanganui ātara. Climate events, rise in te reo Māori, electrification. What about socially? So when we facilitate this exercise, we do it in the group, in SLP, but also give this as an exercise people can facilitate with others. And the key thing is to prompt for things that people don't normally think about. So for lots coming out that's about politics, prompting for other features. Greater awareness of sustainability, yay, cool. And then you'd carry on, if you were facilitating this exercise, you'd say, what about in our sector in the last 15 years? What about in our organisation? And then we moved to be futurists. I did a wonderful foresight course all about future-based thinking and looking at leading signals of the future. So we're thinking about the next 15 years now, and we've got kind of key graphs, and we imagine them carrying on into the future. What are the exponential changes likely to happen? And again, we're thinking outside in, both positive and negative, and we're prompting for these PESTLE features. So in chat, please, let's be futurists. What's likely to happen in the next 15 years? What are some of the big things that are likely to happen in the world? We've got some key ideas here. Oh, we've got America's collapse. Okay. Electric planes, the green transition. Yeah, population demographic changes are a huge global megatrend. AI, another huge global megatrend is technology, and climate events, increasing severity and frequency of climate events, coupled with biodiversity loss. Climate refugees, how many millions and millions of people are going to be forced out of their homes? What does that mean for migration? Voluntary and forced, water shortages, and so on. Wonderful, thank you. And then let's pop down to Aotearoa at the level of our nation. What are some things you foresee happening in the next 15 years? Predator-free, yes, please. I love that predator-free 2050 as an example of a bold goal. We use that in our program. Sea level rise, population drop. It's already stalling, isn't it? But what about that forced migration? Curious. Honouring te tiriti, urbanisation. Yes, so demographic shifts are going to be huge. I think the population is going to be 40% Māori within the next decade. Phenomenal shift. More te ao Māori focus in politics. 200th anniversary of Te Tiriti. Wow, that's something to think about, isn't it? Given our timing of this. Fantastic. And then you'd keep going. You'd facilitate this. You'd ask then, what about our sector? Then what about our organisation? And then you'd ask people, what are the big questions that arise for our organisation? So if you've got a thought just from this skimming the surface of this exercise here today, in chat, please, what's a big question that arises for your organisation when you think about the longer term past and the longer term future? What does this mean? Some of the questions people articulate in SLP are, how do we future-proof our organisation? How might we thrive in a low carbon economy? What role do we want to play in social equity in a low carbon future? How might we stay relevant to our communities and our stakeholders when their needs are shifting so dramatically? All right, cool. So that's just an example of one key framework that we use in the program. There are dozens and dozens of them. You get them in a keepable workbook, and you also get an A5 notebook which is an ongoing memory aid of all the key frameworks in the program. Here's a quote from David Orchard of Silverfern Farms. Sustainability can sometimes feel like a big, vague problem and burden to solve. Through SLP, I realized sustainability is a systems problem, and I now have the tools and skills to lead systems change. We're going to move into Q&A soon. I'll hand back to Jay to run us through that, but you'll have the question, okay, how do I actually register if I want to do this? So you basically search Catapult Sustainability Leadership Program and you'll find our website page, and all the information's on there. Early bird ends 28th of February, additional discount for SBC members. Registration's closed 28th of March. That's that. Let's now move into Q&A.
Nice. Thanks, everyone, and thanks, Andrea. Got a couple of questions that came through earlier. One question about the Leader Lab, how it's grouped, how is it balanced? Is it people with a similar experience, or do you have some people who are more in the mentoring and other in the learning position? Maybe you could talk to that, Andrea.
Right.
Maybe Becks, you could pick up how it worked in practice for you.
Great. And someone also asked about the size of the Leader Labs. Tends to be 4 people. It's a nice kind of intimate group.
I was spreading false fake news saying it was 6. I rounded up.
We form people, we look at everything. We look at length of experience. We ask that in your registration form. We also look at your sustainable development goal focus, your organizational sustainability challenge, and we try and group people based on similar levels of experience. But that not always, and we find also that years of experience in sustainability is complemented by someone may have fewer years of sustainability, but they've got other experience. They may have rich community development experience, which complements. Becks, anything you'd add?
Yeah, I'd just say that you can learn from everyone, and you kind of come into, I believe, the Leadership Lab as equals. And so I personally found that some of the youngest members of the cohort had, like Courtney and other people, had so much to offer me that I think there's a richness of having that cross-pollination of different experiences within the Leadership Labs and within the broader cohort as well.
Nice. Thanks, Becks. Thanks, Andrea. We also had a question around the type of challenge that people bring to work on in the Leader Lab. So, Andrea, can you think of any examples of people who've brought challenges that is sector-wide, could be a game-changing for a whole sector? I said that in my cohort, I remember there was some electrification-based challenges that weren't specific to a business. They were more about New Zealand Inc.
Yes, we have people who focus on any level of leadership challenge. So it might be a challenge that their team specifically has accountability for, or an organizational level challenge, or a sector system-based challenge. And challenges can be at any level of maturity. So it can be an incubation idea, something that you want to advance in your organization. That's what you bring into the program, or it could actually be, no, we've already got the idea, it's already up and running, we already have a strategy, now we're at a different phase. It's about how do you give the work back to others in the organization, how do you share the responsibility for sustainability and embed the approaches. It's really an implementation approach then, which we definitely cover in the program.
And are there advancing options if you already have a strategy?
Yes, definitely. So we have a huge focus on embedding sustainability into organizational operations, strategy, and culture. And influencing. Yeah.
Thanks. Court, out of interest, what was your challenge? Can you remember?
It's just trying to rack my brains, actually.
It's okay. I sprung that on you. You can think about that while we
I can't remember. Something profound, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. I believe mine was influencing at different levels, because the Sustainable Business Council, we work with directors and executives, but we also work with sustainability professionals, and some are super new to the profession and some have been doing it their old hat. So I wanted to know how I could speak to all those different audiences. On a practical note, are there scholarships for not-for-profits?
Wow. Funny you should ask. Yes. So Catapult gives a few scholarships to not-for-profits. Applications for those are through our website, and they close 28th of February. So you need to be working full-time in a not-for-profit on a sustainability issue. Could be social, economic, or environmental. And we do that because the not-for-profit sector is a key sector in the system of sustainability, but often doesn't have access to development like this. So it's our pleasure to offer those.
Nice, thank you. Keep the questions coming. If you also want to ask a question verbally, I should have said you can raise your hand and I can unmute you too. While a few more questions come in, Becks, I wondered if you could cast your mind back to when you were first thinking about doing the program. Is there anything you would have done differently to prepare yourself? Is there anything you wish that you had known then that you know now after doing the program?
I think the key one probably is not being so stressed out about your sustainability challenge and trying to nail that from the beginning. I think the value of this course is you basically use your sustainability challenge as a bit of a platform for applying some of these tools, strategies and frameworks on the way through, and you get clarity and you get more clear about what your sustainability challenge would look like. I mean, for me personally, I started very broad, too broad. I was looking at the whole system and then I had to really refine it over time to what I wanted to focus on. But there's a value in that. There's a good rich learning experience from doing that. So don't be so stressed out about nailing exactly what you need from your sustainability challenge right now.
I think that's great.
At this point in time.
A lot of people, their challenge actually evolves through the program. Yeah, the initial sense evolves. Can I ask a question of Becks and Court, please? What would be your advice to people in this kind of constrained funding environment, right? So it's not, we're in a recessionary context, public-private sector under pressure. If you were seeking funding for this course, what would be your advice? How do you go about pitching that?
I think what I see. Oh, sorry. Go cool. Go cool.
I'd just say that I think investment in sustainability professionals, like training, development, and support, is just essential. If you don't continue to develop your, build your networks and have that support, especially if you're in a role where it's just you, it's just a big risk, honestly. So it is like, even in times like this, if I had known like the whole course as I know it now, I'd still be pushing to do it this year because I just needed that support. I also remember my challenge. It was to refresh our sustainability strategy and build some strategic sustainability goals to FY25, which I did do. I did do that.
Fantastic. Something I've noticed has worked well as well, Andrea, is or individuals who put forward a short business case for why their involvement in the program would deliver business benefit. And if your learning and development budget is relatively small for a year, spreading that over 2 years, I've seen a couple of organisations do as well. I mean, it's fairly competitively priced, but it depends on your individual budget too. But having a business case that proves how the investment is helpful, and to being mindful of how you allocate your learning and development budget too.
I think that's a nice balance, the risk of not and the benefits of.
Yeah, that's cool. We've got a question about just transition and equity and how much the program touches on that. Andrea, could you talk to that?
So everyone brings their own sustainability challenge to the program. That said, we're all impacted by climate change. So I use the example of climate change to illustrate every key framework all the way through the program. So yes, very much. So climate change becomes our shared challenge. And also roughly, I would say, a quarter of the people, would that be your experience, Becks and Court, are working on climate change? Yes. So yes, it's this social as well as the environmental aspects of climate impacts.
Nice, thank you. Any further questions from anyone, or I'll come up with one that we can discuss, and perhaps we can close after that if there are no further questions coming through. I like leadership and development programs because I love learning, but I'm really conscious that once you've had the program, you can sometimes go off about your day job and not necessarily maintain that connection and that different way of working. So interested to hear first from Court and then from Becks about how you've continued that learning journey, and then perhaps, Andrea, you could chip in with the actual support that alumni receive after they graduate. So, Court, how have you continued to embed what you've learned in the program?
So my leader lag group, we've all stayed in touch, and like not it was like maybe a month or so after the program finished, we actually all went out for dinner to just sort of like debrief. So those connections like last on. If you've got any questions, you know, I've had people reach out to me, I've reached out to people. And then all the material that you gather as you learn, all those links, all those, if you've got a question, I go back to stuff that all the time I was like, oh, I remember learning this. And so you've got that reference material to go back. You've got this support, you know, ongoing. If you need to remember how it works or ask questions, it's just ongoing. It's really great.
Nice. Becks, do you have monthly dinners?
I have kept in contact with my leader lab, and I have connected. I keep connected with some of the cohort as well. Some only literally work up the road from me, which is quite useful. So we meet and catch up on the particular projects. So that's been great. I have a systems map of the climate action system that I regularly go back and have a look at, and I'm regularly looking at what's changing and what's evolving in it. And so I think that's really useful to keep things alive and what's different, because the world's changing so quickly, and particularly in New Zealand in the past year. In our spaces, it's really changing. So you have to be really aware what's happening. So that's kind of the second thing there. And I suppose the other thing around it is I did a presentation back to our lead team about what my insights were from the program, and I've shared that in different places within the organisation. So that was a really good way to kind of keep this live and active, because I had to really talk about what were my insights, what were the key things that I learned. And so I've got that as a bit of a source of background and inspiration for me moving forward as well. So.
Oh, that's fantastic practical examples. And Andrea, you talked a little bit about your nerd cave.
Oh, yes. People might be wondering what that is. So during the course, people download all the resources. So there's, as I might have said, pre-workers, the essentials and the optional extras, and that links and extra articles and readings. So you've built your own sustainability leadership library throughout the program that you can dip back into. And if that's not quite enough for some of you nerdies like me, then I give access to an ever-growing library of sustainability leadership resources. It's currently, I think, 28 pages of links under topics that I keep adding to. And you also become a member of an SLP alumni group. There's a LinkedIn community. You can use that as a jobs board, looking for work, advertising jobs, or posting cool resources. I also have a ton of resources up on Medium, keep creating new articles in the field of sustainability leadership, and you'll be the first to learn about those. So there's an ongoing, as well as the community connections within your cohort, you're connected to all other past alumni and a whole suite of extra resources. But the way the program's designed, we know the traditional drop-off of learning is like that, but that's because people aren't taking a bite and actually applying it to something practical. The key thing about applying it to a practical sustainability challenge is that you're then embedding the learning in yourself. You'll then own it forever. And the toolkit's applicable to any future complex challenge you ever face in your career. So people do report that they dip back into it all the time.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Becks. Thank you, Court, for your time. Andrea, could you recap some of the practical information, and then I will close us out.
Well, thank you all for your time and interest. Really, great pleasure. You're already part of a sustainability leadership community because you have a commitment and curiosity in this field. If you'd like to register, please do so through Catapult's website. Just search Catapult Sustainability. If you've got any further questions, please email me, andrea@catapult.co.nz. You'll find me through the website anyway. And so thank you again, Jay. Wonderful. Thank you for your hosting. It's been fabulous as always.
Pleasure. Thank you everyone for attending today. I spent yesterday in a strategy day talking about the changing context of the world around us and how we could respond to that, and what better way to do that by than investing in yourself and your capability for navigating times of uncertainty. So if you have any questions for me, do also feel free to reach out to me, and I wish you all a great rest of the day. Ka kite anō.
Ka kite.